Hey everyone, today I want to talk about this great book, Perspective Made Easy. This book is currently in public domain. I think it was published in 1939, so you can access that on the web. I think Internet Archive has a copy as well, but you can find it pretty cheaply as well, the physical copy, and I highly recommend. This is a great introduction to the whole perspective thing. It doesn't go into much of the concepts and the mathematics and physics behind it. It's more of a fun approach where you can get started, and later on, if you want to dive deeper and learn more of the techniques and tools, you can get other books like How to Draw, Frame Perspective 1, or some courses like Eric Olson's New Masters Academy course, which I did through my journey. But today, let's focus on this. There is a lot to learn here. I'm currently doing a group study of this book with my Brazilian peers. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would want to see here in the channel. That's through exclusive videos on a membership area, but it's something that we could definitely do here as well and dive deeper into perspective. So let's get started. As you know, I always like to look at the index and understand a little of the structure of the whole book and the thought process behind it. So step one is basically these three elements that I think are the most important to understand if you want to go into perspective. What's the horizon and the horizon line, the vanishing points and convergence of lines that are parallel, and the eye level, the relationship between the viewer and the observer or camera and the horizon, and how that affects everything in your drawing. The eye level and the relationship to perspective drawing as a whole. Parallel lines, how we see them, 1 point perspective, 3 sets of parallels and starting to 2 point perspective, locating the point and the eye level, the vanishing point and the eye level, and then 2 vanishing points, the height line, so the verticals of the drawing, placing 2 points in the error of like putting them too close together, then showing how each vanishing point relates to one another, especially if you are rotating something. You have a book or a box and you start rotating it, they will go, the sets of parallel lines will go to different points, and we'll get to that with examples looking at the book. Building perspective with bricks, placing figures, so scale and transfer of scales in perspective, center of interest, so a little bit of a composition approach, and slopes, so roofs in perspective, interiors and furniture, finding the center, so using the diagonals and dividing spaces in half. Practical applications, cylinders, so starts with ellipses, practical use of cylinders, dividing the circle, dividing the surface in perspective, so more of the checkerboard approach. If you want to draw an interior and you're going to use like that very squared out checker box approach, that would be super helpful. Shade and shadow, so a little bit of casting shadows as we saw in frame perspective 2 and how to render, but here a little bit simplified. Then reflections, also saw, I think on how to draw or how to render, they have reflections as well. Unusual perspective, up and down points, so that's more of inclined planes and a little bit of 3 points. Downhill and uphill, now we get the slopes. The 3 points was in here. And then false eye level, sometimes you have a horizon line that is not exactly what you're looking at. And the mechanical perspective, the more technical approach that he doesn't go into that much. It's only like step 20 to have it in the book, but not focus on that. So going into perspective, understanding that perspective is an illusion. We have a 2D plane and we are using some of the things, the optics rules to try and convey 3 dimensions in the 2D flat surface. So we're, instead of looking at something flat, we're looking at 3 different sides and having that convergency to the vanishing point or horizon line to convey the illusion of volume. The horizon line and the relationship with vanishing points, so the connection between sky and Earth. A lot of different examples of these you probably have seen in a lot of different books or courses, the railway lines. You can have a railway line where you are really close to the ground and sometimes you're really up, and that will change the position of the eye level. So the eye level and the relation. Another great thing of this book, it has a reminder, so the main points from each chapter, as well as some problems and suggested exercises. Some of them are really dated, so get your box of cigarettes and cigars, or go and sit on the highway to draw, and something like that, that I think would be useful in 1939, but I highly don't recommend nowadays. When you are in the interior, you can look at the walls and find the watermark or the eye level mark. If you put a tape on the height of your eyesight, it will be a straight line no matter which wall it goes, because it doesn't have perspective. It's right on top of the horizon line, right on top of your eye level. If you look at the window, it's gonna be the horizon back there. If you fill a room with water, it will go it will go to the height of the eye level. You understand that everything that is below, you're gonna look down, and everything that is upward, you're gonna look up. So you're gonna see the down sides and faces of things that are upward from your eye level, and the upward faces of something that is below your eye level. The same can happen in the outside, but it's harder to see. This is a great example of eye level. If you are above the table, you see the top of the table. If you go below, the perspective will change, because the eye level and the horizon line and the convergency and vanishing point will change with the position of the observer. So you will see the down plane of the table. And we can go like really deeper into this. I'll make a video of these stuff, just as I did with my Brazilian peers. And I'll have a link in the description if that is public. If it goes into the member area, I'll also let you know here in the comments of the video. So now going into parallel lines and how they relate and how they converge to a vanishing point. So explaining a little more in depth what it looks like, and the verticals as well, and why they don't converge. A little bit of the picture plane and a window if you want to draw through a window. And then 3 sets of parallels. We start getting to 2-point perspective. So this is 1 point, the simplification of 1-point perspective, finding or vanishing points as well. And then 2 points, you start placing them far apart, and we're gonna see what happens if we bring to the 2 points too close together, something like this, but in bigger things it will have way more distortion. So placing them far away, this is a great example of that. And if you get them too close, you start having more of a fisheye lens approach, and then you start getting a lot of distortion. The table will look like this, but actually it should look like this. The room example is very good. A lot of people, when they are trying to draw in perspective, they will do something like this instead of placing the points apart. That would look way more natural than this approach. So going forward, multiple vanishing points. So you start understanding when you are rotating something, a box, this box of watercolors, for example, when you start rotating, the sets of parallel lines will change, and the direction of the vanishing points that they are pointed at will definitely change when you're looking downward on them, and as well as when you're looking in perspective. So that's what they are explaining here. So you have different sets of top views, and you have different sets of perspective views as well that are related to each other. And you can start putting all those boxes together and start building things just like bricks. So that's what they're doing here. Once you get to the horizon line, you will have a flat line, and then it will change direction of the conversion. You have the same happening here. And you can go all the way to creating something that looks like buildings and add some windows and get all the details in. This is basically a collection of boxes with different sizes and placed in a three-dimensional view. If you want to change the eye level, so you want to go down here, your horizon line will go through this part. So you need to change the overall view, and everything closer to the ground will be flatter, and everything that is on top, if you want to see that on your screen, it will be a little more distorted, or you are really, really far away. It depends on how close the 2 points in perspective will be. So that's basically what's happening in there. Scales, so different heights and how to place them and how to move them sideways. This is great. And how avoid crowding. So understand that you have volumes. So sometimes on the ground floor, you can project them and see if they are interlapsing. Sometimes you want to have that kind of connection. If you're drawing like dynamic sketching, you want to build things with your primitives. So you will connect them, and then this will be useful. But sometimes you don't want them, you want them to be like solid, so you want to understand the limits of each one of them and how close together they are, and have something like this, that they are far apart in the projection on the ground, and they are not touching each other. Center of interest, so more of a changing the view to get a better perspective, as well as a better storytelling and composition. Some of the roofs and slopes, just letting you know that this will be really useful, especially when you're uphill and downhill, or you're drawing the roofs of houses and so. So every slope plane will converge to the same vanishing point if they have the same angle. So if they are parallel, they will converge to a point that is above the vanishing point on the horizon line for the whole box. So you have the box of the house here that is going in this direction, and the other that is going in that direction. And you have the upward slope that goes this way and the downward slope that goes this way, and all of them are parallel with each other. The same happens with books. Interiors, so basically now you're using all the boxes in putting them together inside a room. So you have the eye level and the height line, and then you're placing a lot of your objects and using different directions. This is hard to do, but very important as well when you're placing the furniture. Dividing, so you're using the diagonals to find the midpoint. So great examples if you want to draw a roof, or if you want to draw like a tennis court. A lot of useful applications and duplication as well. You can use the same idea to duplicate something that is equidistant or same distance from the other. The cylinders and ellipses. So the basic understanding of ellipses. Cones, very useful. Practical use of cylinders, so getting more of that construction of having like cylinders and a box together, going into the dynamic sketching that we mentioned before, where you can build everything and then draw on top. It's the same with like trains and bridges and objects. You can combine lots of different primitives and get to really interesting results. Dividing the surface into multiple spaces. So you're using like the checker box approach that we talked before and the diagonal. So using that to really divide everything into this checkerboard. And you could do that in all the faces. Irregular spacing, you can also use their measure to project that to the house that you have. And he's using the diagonals here. So he's projecting the floor division to the side of the plane and then using the diagonal to throw that to the ground. There are multiple ways of doing this. Also, you can find on Frame Perspective 1 by Marcos Mateo Mestre a very nice way to do that as well, using a measuring point on the horizon. Casting shadows, once again, so very straightforward approach to perspective. The reflections as well, very simplified, and the relationship with the horizon line and the eye level. Unusual perspective, so 3 points now. You're not looking straight parallel to the ground. You're looking upward, but not straight up. You're looking with an angle. And now things are going to start converge upward or downward, which is normally how we see things in the world. We're not normally looking straight ahead, parallel to the ground. So looking at that on photographs goes a long way. Another great example of uphill and having your scale projected if you're moving upward. And be careful, because everything that you have here, the eye level is going to be the height of your eyes. This is the false eye level that they say. Your eye level is going to be here. But things are going to be converging to this vanishing point and some of them to the other vanishing point. Depends if they are related to the inclined plane, like the car over here, or if they are related to the ground, like the windows and doors, that they are going to converge to this eye level, to this horizon line, and not to the auxiliary vanishing point above the horizon line, which will relate to the ones that are sloped, like the car. I know it's hard to explain like really fast here, but this is the idea behind it. So this is the formal construction and mechanical construction. You can project things and use like plan view projections. As I mentioned on the Frame Perspective 1 video, this is not very useful. This is the architect's method. So nowadays we have 3D. If we want to have very accurate drawings, we can do a 3D base and then draw on top of it. And this is the method that I was saying. You can use a horizontal line to divide equidistant or irregular, as we saw with that house back then. You can use the side and then the diagonal, but you can also use this approach here using more of an auxiliary vantage point. I think they are doing a little bit of a shortcut and using this point over here. I would highly recommend using an auxiliary vanishing point on the horizon line. It depends if you have the horizon line visible or not, so you can use the shortcut. Yeah, that's it. Great books to start your perspective studies. I highly recommend this above anything else if you're in the beginning, or even if you want to reconnect with perspective. A book like How to Draw can be very dry, so this will be a great starting point. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It got you excited to study perspective and practice more. So have great studies, have a great day, and we'll definitely catch up soon on other videos. Bye, take care.